HDZero have released a new updated version of their race VTX called the version 3. Now today I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of what's changed compared to the other models. I'll walk you through some of the features and its overall performance, and then at the end I will share with you my thoughts. Now just to be clear up front, Carl did send me this VTX for free. However, I have not been paid to make this video. They've not seen this video before it's been published, and as always my thoughts are entirely my own. Okay, so let's take a look at this new VTX. Now obviously, as this is a version 3, there's been 2 before this, but every time HDZero have released a new version, there has been improvements, and that is very much the case here again today. Now, the first thing you will notice is that the race version 3 is much smaller than the previous version. It is now 28 by 32 by 5 mil, and it weighs just 5.5 grams. It still supports all of the same power outputs, which is 25 or 200 milliwatts. It supports all of the video modes that the other VTXs did, which is 540p 90, 720p 60, and the upcoming new 1080p 30. It has a new voltage input range of 4 to 12 volts. Now that has been reduced compared to the other VTX. They've been able to shift it much further down the voltage range, but that has come as a result of losing some at the top. But what it now means is you'll be able to use it on 5 volt pads on flight controllers as long as they support up to 1.5 amp of output. Now really the main VTX itself is very much the same as the originals in the sense of there's no new major features here with regards to HDZero. This is all about the packaging and the overall durability of the VTX. For instance, they've upgraded the PCB on this, whereas the Whoop VTX has a 1mm PCB. It is now 1.6mm on this one, and they've also increased the size of some of the components just to give more durability, and they've used more glue in this now to try and help improve durability in use. You'll also notice that it does come pre-wired with this 40mm harness on board as well, so you can plug it into compatible flight controllers, but you can hardwire it directly too. When you look around it, you still have all of the usual stuff. So we've got our MIPI connector, our UFL 4 antenna connector, which is also captive. There's a little plate that comes with it to hold it in place. You've got the standard HDZero chipset on this side here. We've got our firmware upgrade port. And then if we flip it over on the bottom side, you can see there's just sundry components. The big changes here with this VTX, really more than anything, is durability and packaging, and obviously that input voltage range. You are, though, going to need to make sure that you do not use this on direct battery voltage now. You're going to need to run this on a BEC, and as I've said, the maximum input on that is now 12 volts. Now, with regards to the mounting pattern, it supports 20 by 20 on both M3 and M4, and there are gummies included in the box as well. So if we just take a look in here, and if I just lift all of this out the way, you can see we've got the gummies in there, and we've also got the little plate and screws for holding that UFL down as well. Overall, what we've got here with the Race version 3 is a VTX that is smaller, lighter, easier to integrate into smaller frames, better durability, and also the ability to use with lower voltages. Okay, so if we just have a look at the VTX under the microscope, what we've got obviously is our large DiviMath chipset, which is our 5680T. We've then got our voltage input down here, comes into this diode. We've got some capacitors, and then we've got a voltage regulator from the looks of it here. If we then go at the top of the board, we've got our 2 screw posts for mounting our plate that goes over the top of the UFL. There's an unpopulated IC area there, clearly wasn't needed. Crystal oscillator. If we just scroll down, you can see we've then got all of the other sundry components. Another voltage regulator here, another voltage regulator here, and then just some basic components. And then you can see the glue all around there, and we'll go in a bit closer and look at that in a second. Okay, just looking at the other side, we've then got our RF chipsets. We've got the DM6300. If we follow that down through a filter into our power amplifier, which is the PA5542, and then that goes out to the UFL. It's a much smaller front-end RF stage on this. And then you've just got the components there, some test pads down there. If we go this side, we've got our MIPI input, we've got our MIPI interface chip, we've then got some what looks to be more voltage regulation around here, our firmware input port, and then you can see we've got our wiring inputs, we've got our voltage, ground, TX and RX for our UART, and then there's a couple of extra ports here, and we'll take a look at them a bit more closely in a minute. But overall, everything looks good. The packaging looks tidy. The components look well laid out. No signs of tombstoning. But let's get in a bit closer and take a look. We can see our UFL there. We can then see our components going to our PA. Everything's much more tightly packed. coming out the PA, then the other side into our DiviMath chipset. We can then see all of the other components. You can see the glue on there that holds them down, which just helps with durability. If we go down this side here, we've then got our pad inputs, and then we've got our UFL, and then the rest of the components there. Overall, everything looks really nicely done. There's glue to hold everything in place. And again, you can just see that's been used to help with that overall durability. Now, there is one little warning that I do want to put out on this new Race Version 3 VTX, and that's with regards to its connector. If we take a look, it is pre-wired and it is the same number of pins as you would find, for instance, on this here, the DJI-03. However, if we put them the same orientation, you will note that they are not pinned out the same. In fact, they are opposite. Now, I'm not saying that DJI is a standard in the sense of, well, that is what everyone does. What I will say, though, is many flight controller manufacturers do tend to follow DJI's wiring simply because it has been one of the most widely used systems. And you do need to take care before plugging this into your flight controller that you do have the wiring correct. Otherwise, you will burn this out. We saw the same with the O3 Air unit itself. When that first came out, people were simply assuming that the wiring was correct. There really is no standard with regards to wiring on flight controllers, but you do find that DJI does become the sort of de facto standard simply because of the popularity. And if you're going to mount this on something that does have a DJI compatible plug, make sure that you check those pinouts first. Now, just to compare the new Race Version 3 to the original, so we have the Race V1, the Race V2, and then we have the Whoop light over here. And you can see up front instantly that the new Race V3 really isn't much larger, and it really doesn't weigh much more than the Whoop light. It's like 0.5 gram in it, and it is substantially smaller than we've seen before. And it's just nice to see how HDZero have been able to improve the packaging from what we had here with the Race V1. All three of these output the same RF power. They're all 200 milliwatts. It's all pretty much the same setup. What they've been able to do, though, is shrink the components down, improve the packaging, and get to where we are today. If I just lift this and place it over the top of the Race Version 2, you can see that it is quite a bit smaller, so that is going to really make integrating it into your builds easier. It's going to be interesting to see as well how many people choose this over the Whoop light, because it is virtually as small. The weight penalty is minimal, and it does take those lower voltages as well. And whilst every gram counts absolutely on a Whoop, for people using this in other platforms, I can see them considering this over the others. Now, just to give you an idea of the power consumption of this new VTX, I've tested it at 5 volt, 9 volt and 12 volt, both at 25 and 200 milliwatts. At 5 volt, you can see it's just about 1 amp at 25 and 1.18 amp at 200. At 9 volt, we're talking 0.5 amp at 25 and 0.62 at 200. And then at 12 volt, we're 0.43 at 25 and 0.5 at 200. And overall, as I've said, the maximum consumption that I've seen on the VTX was just under 6 watts. Now, the really good thing about the Race VTX is that it is fully compatible with the HDZero 540p 90 mode, which allows not only for that improved penetration, but that ultra low, roughly 14 milliseconds of latency, far lower than we've got on any other digital FPV system. And the reality is you're not really giving up that much in the sense of detail compared to the other modes in HDZero specifically. And it's just really good to see this available on the HDZero system for the people that want the absolute best possible low latency performance. And there is no other system, period, other than analog that comes close. And in fact, even analog in most cases does not have the kind of latency that you can get here with HDZero. Now, these were just a couple of quick test flights just to check everything was working. I actually, later on in the video, couldn't push it as much as I'd have liked because I ended up bending a prop, and you will see in some of the footage there'd be quite a lot of vibration. I will also compare between the 540p mode and the 720p mode so you can see as well. So I'll let this finish and then I'll come back and share with you my thoughts. Okay, so to share with you my thoughts on the race version 3. Now, up front, this doesn't appear to be anything major. However, there is a lot of really good improvements here. We have a new VTX that is smaller, lighter, and more durable, and that is absolutely fantastic. We then also have some improvements on the voltage input range, so we've got that 4 to 12 volts. Yes, it does mean you're going to need to use it with a BEC on anything above 12 volts, but that's a good thing anyway, because it gives you more protection to the VTX, and in my opinion, you should always be running a digital VTX, at least with a spike absorber or on a BEC on your flight controller. That way, it's going to stop any transients making it through. In the end, what HDZero have done is taken the learnings from their earlier ones and improved it, listened to the feedback from the race community, and delivered a VTX that hopefully will be better for most people's use case. Now, if you're interested in getting one of these, there will be a link to it in the description. I want to say a thank you to Carl for sending this one over. Hopefully, you have found this video interesting, and there may be some more news from HDZero in the future. And if there is, please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel to be able to get that. Furthermore, I just want to say, if you have found this video interesting, please do check out the links to my Patreon. I want to say a massive thank you to all of my patrons on the channel. I would not be able to keep making content without your support. I was able to buy these HDZero goggles with the support of my Patreon, and if you'd like to support us to allow us to keep doing that in the future, please do consider checking it out. Anyway, that's it from me on this one. Please do let me know what you think in the comment section. Stay safe. I'll speak to you soon.